Pisces, you'll cry, April 26th to 28th. What's coming will shake your soul. Don't ignore this sign. Pisces, if your heart has felt heavier than usual, if you have been waking with a strange silence in your chest, if tears have been gathering behind your eyes even when nothing visible has happened, then listen closely, because this message may not have found you by accident. Something sacred is moving around you from April 26th to April 28th, and it is not here to destroy you. It is here to reveal what your soul has been carrying in secret. You may feel more sensitive, more tired, more aware of old memories, old names, old wounds, and unfinished emotions rising to the surface like waves under moonlight. But Pisces, do not mistake this trembling for weakness. Sometimes the most powerful breakthrough begins as a quiet tear. Sometimes God touches the deepest place in your heart before He opens the next door of blessing. Wealth, peace, and divine provision. There is a reason your spirit has been restless. There is a reason conversations feel heavier, places feel different, and people no longer bring the same comfort they once did. You are not losing your mind. You are being awakened. The universe may speak through symbols, timing dreams, and emotional waves, but above every sign, God is still the one who holds your future. And when God allows a Pisces heart to shake, it is never because He has forgotten you. It is because He is breaking the shell that has kept your blessing trapped beneath fear, attachment, and grief. You have smiled through pain for too long. You have prayed while pretending you were fine. You have carried burdens that never belonged to your calling. And now, between April 26th and April 28th, something may press against your soul and whisper, enough. Do not scroll away from this, Pisces, because the very thing that makes you emotional may be the same thing God uses to return your power. A memory may come back. A person may cross your mind. A message may arrive. A silence may become loud enough to answer a question you have avoided. A closed door may make sense. And when it happens, your first reaction may be to cry, but your tears will not be a sign that you are falling apart. They may be proof that heaven is washing your vision, clearing your heart, and preparing you to receive what fear could never hold. The blessing coming toward you requires space. The wealth prepared for you requires peace. The future God has written for you requires a heart that is no longer chained to what broke it. Pisces, you are one of the souls that can feel what others hide. You can sense changes before they are spoken. You can enter a room and know when the energy has shifted. You can love so deeply that you forget where another person ends and where your own pain begins. But this season is asking you to come back to yourself. This is not about becoming cold. This is about becoming spiritually protected. It is about understanding that compassion without boundaries can become exhaustion, and faith without surrender can become fear disguised as loyalty. God is not asking you to stop loving. He is asking you to stop bleeding for places He is trying to lead you out of. That is why April 26th through April 28th may feel like a spiritual turning point. You may suddenly remember what you lost. You may suddenly realize what you survived. You may suddenly feel the ache of everything you never said. But hidden inside that ache is a holy invitation. God may be saying, "My child, I did not create you to live poor in peace, poor in love, poor in confidence, poor in hope, or poor in spirit. I created you to walk in wisdom, favor, overflow, and inner richness. I created you to receive blessings, without begging for love to build wealth, without losing your soul, and to carry tenderness without becoming a victim of every broken person who needs your light. So stay with this message, Pisces, because the next few minutes may help you understand why your heart has been tired, why your emotions have been loud, and why you feel something important approaching. If this is already touching something inside you, press like as a sign that you choose faith. Subscribe if you believe God can guide you through signs, stillness, dreams, and divine timing. Share this with another Pisces who has been holding back tears. And if your spirit recognizes this warning comment, God is healing my heart and opening my blessing, let that comment become your agreement that you are ready to release the old pain, protect your future, welcome divine fortune, and step into the blessing waiting for your healed heart. Now, Pisces, after hearing this, you may be asking yourself why everything feels so personal, why the smallest word can touch a hidden wound, why silence suddenly feels like an answer, and why your heart seems to remember things your mind tried to forget. This is the deeper meaning of what is happening around you. You are not simply being emotional. You are being spiritually awakened through feeling. Pisces carries a sacred kind of sensitivity, the kind that can sense sadness behind a smile, fear behind a message, and distance behind a voice that still says everything is fine. You often know before people confess. You often feel before life explains. And because of this, you have carried too much, loved too long, forgiven too quickly, and stayed in places where your spirit was quietly asking to leave. From April 26th to April 28th, the tears that come may not be caused by one dramatic event. They may rise from a realization. You may suddenly see how much you have endured. You may remember how many times you chose peace while your own heart was breaking. You may recognize that you kept praying for people who never protected your softness, kept hoping for doors God was already closing, kept giving energy to connections that drained your faith, your clarity, your money, your confidence, and your future. This is not punishment. Pisces, this is revelation. God is not exposing these things to embarrass you. He is exposing them so you can finally stop calling exhaustion love, stop calling fear loyalty, and stop calling delay patience. There may be a conversation during these days that opens an old ache. There may be no conversation at all, and that silence may teach you more than 1,000 explanations. Someone may act differently. A memory may return at night. A song, a number, a dream, a place, or a sudden wave of emotion may pull you back into something unfinished. But listen carefully. Not everything that returns is meant to be recovered. Sometimes something returns only so you can see how far God has carried you. Sometimes an old feeling rises, not because you are supposed to go back, but because your soul is finally strong enough to release it with truth, grace, and holy understanding. God may be whispering to you in this season, my child. You do not need to keep carrying what I never asked you to carry. Let that sentence enter your spirit slowly. You were never assigned to save everyone. You were never commanded to lose your peace so another person could avoid their own healing. You were never created to become poor in spirit, poor in rest, poor in self-worth, or poor in divine expectation just because you have a compassionate heart. Your love is sacred. Pisces, but even sacred love must be guided by wisdom. The blessing God is preparing for you cannot fully enter a life crowded by old grief, emotional debt, and spiritual confusion. This is why your tears may become cleansing. They may wash away regret. They may wash away the need to understand every betrayal. They may wash away the fantasy that if you had loved harder, stayed longer, or sacrificed more, everything would have changed. Some things were never meant to change because they were never meant to remain. Some doors closed because God saw what you could not see. Some people left because they were not strong enough, pure enough, or aligned enough to walk into your next season of wealth, peace, blessing, and divine favor. Pisces, your intuition is not random. Your heaviness is not meaningless. Your emotional sensitivity is not a curse. It is a signal. It is heaven touching the waters of your inner world and showing you what must be healed before you rise into the abundance waiting for you. But you must not only feel this message, you must respond to it. If your heart recognizes these words, press like as a small act of faith. Subscribe if you are ready to keep walking with divine wisdom and spiritual protection. Share this with someone who is crying in silence. And prepare your spirit, because what God is revealing now is not meant to break you. It is meant to free you, enrich you, protect your future, and lead you toward the blessing your soul has been praying for. And if you are still here, type "God is healing my heart and opening my blessing," because every declaration becomes a boundary against the past. It tells your spirit that you are no longer available for confusion, lack, hidden sorrow, or relationships that bankrupt your peace. You are ready for healed love, protected money, holy confidence, and a future covered by God. Walk gently. Pisces, but walk forward. Pisces, we come to the truth beneath the tears. The truth your heart may have been avoiding because it feels too honest, too tender, and too close to the wound. You are not crying because you are weak. You are crying because your soul has spent too long being silent. You have swallowed words that needed to be spoken. You have accepted pain that should have been questioned. You have prayed for people who kept hurting you, hoped for doors that kept draining you, and carried private sadness while trying to look kind, calm, and spiritually strong. But God sees what you hide. God sees the trembling behind your smile. God sees the tiredness behind your loyalty. And from April 26th to April 28th, He may allow something to touch your heart so deeply that you finally stop pretending nothing is wrong. This is the central truth. Pisces, you cannot step into holy wealth, peace, love, new strength, and new divine provision while your heart remains tied to old pain. You cannot receive a blessing with hands still gripping what broke you. You cannot walk into holy abundance while your spirit is still negotiating with memories that keep you poor in confidence, poor in rest, poor in self-worth, and poor in faith. God is not asking you to hate the past. He is asking you to release its authority over your future. He is asking you to stop letting yesterday decide how much joy you are allowed to receive tomorrow. You may have endured in love. You may have endured in family. You may have endured in work, in money, in waiting, in unanswered prayers, in relationships that made you question your worth. You may have told yourself, I can handle this. I can forgive. Again, I can wait a little longer. I can keep giving. I can keep understanding. I can keep being the soft one. But Pisces' softness without truth becomes suffering. Compassion without boundaries becomes captivity. Faith without obedience becomes delay. And there comes a sacred moment when God does not simply comfort your pain. He confronts the thing that keeps creating it. That is what these days may bring. A moment of holy clarity. A moment where you realize that some people left because they no longer fit the season God is preparing for you. Some doors closed because the peace inside them had already died. Some plans collapsed because God refused to let you build your future on unstable ground. Some tears came because your soul knew the truth long before your mind had the courage to accept it. What you feared losing may have been the very thing blocking the blessing. What you kept protecting may have been the very thing weakening your spirit. What you called love may have been attachment. What you called patience may have been fear. But hear this with tenderness. God is not condemning you for loving deeply. He created your Pisces heart with compassion, intuition, imagination, and a rare ability to feel what others cannot express. Your tenderness is not the problem. Your depth is not the problem. Your willingness to forgive is not the problem. The problem begins when you allow sacred love to become self-abandonment. The problem begins when you keep pouring from an empty vessel and call it devotion. The problem begins when you believe that being chosen by God means you must suffer quietly forever. No, Pisces. God does not bless you by keeping you broken. He blesses you by healing what taught you to live beneath your calling. The wealth coming for you is not only money, though money can be part of your blessing. It is wealth in clarity, wealth in peace, wealth in discernment, wealth in emotional safety, wealth in divine timing, wealth in waking up without fear, wealth in choosing relationships that protect your spirit, wealth in work that honors your gifts, wealth in opportunities that do not require you to betray your soul. God wants to give you a life where your tenderness is protected, your intuition is trusted, your prayers are strengthened, and your future is no longer controlled by old wounds. So when the tears come, do not shame them. Let them speak. Let them wash the place where you became tired of hoping. Let them cleanse the memory that still pulls at your chest. Let them break the agreement you made with survival. You were not born only to survive, Pisces. You were born to be healed, lifted, guided, enriched, and covered by grace. You were born to carry light without being consumed by darkness. You were born to receive blessing without begging for permission from people who never understood your soul. And if these words are touching you, now stay with them. Press like as a sign that you are choosing healing over hiding. Subscribe if you believe God is leading you into a wiser, wealthier, more peaceful season. Share this with another Pisces carrying silent pain, and comment, God is healing my heart and opening my blessing. Because this declaration is more than a sentence. It is your spiritual boundary. It is your agreement with heaven. It is your refusal to let old sorrow steal provision. It is your yes to peace, your yes to faith, your yes to fortune, your yes to a future where your heart is soft, but no longer unprotected. Pisces. If you have stayed until this moment, receive this as a sacred pause, not a coincidence. Your soul did not remain here only to hear words. Your soul remained because something in you recognizes the voice of healing, the voice of warning, and the voice of God calling you out of old pain into a richer season. So before you rush back into the noise of the world, slow down. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath become gentle. Let your heart understand that the tears of April 26th through April 28th are not meant to shame you. They are meant to open you. They are meant to loosen the grip of what drained you, what confused you, what made you doubt your worth, and what kept your spirit poor even when your dreams were still reaching for abundance. Place your hand over your heart, Pisces, and breathe in slowly. Imagine the mercy of God touching every hidden room inside you. Imagine His light moving through the memories. You never speak about the disappointments you swallowed, the people you still pray for, the fears you still carry, and the future you are afraid to believe in. Now breathe out and release the belief that you must suffer silently to be spiritual. Release the belief that love means losing yourself. Release the belief that money, peace, blessing, and divine favor are always for someone else, but never for you. God did not bring you this far to leave you empty. God did not awaken your heart to abandon you at the edge of your miracle. Whisper this prayer with me, either aloud or deep inside your spirit. Lord, heal the place in me that has been crying without sound. Remove what no longer belongs to my blessing. Separate me from every connection that steals my peace, my faith, my clarity, and my future. Give me wisdom before I choose. Give me strength before I return. Give me peace before I react. Open the way for holy abundance, protected money, stable love, clean opportunities, and a life that honors the soul you created in me. Let my tears become water for a new beginning. Let my pain become wisdom. Let my silence become prayer. Let my heart become a vessel strong enough to carry the blessings you are sending. And now, Pisces, do not just listen to this message. Seal it with a declaration. In the comments, write, "God is healing my heart and opening my blessing." Write it not as superstition, not as fear, not as a desperate wish, but as a sacred agreement with your faith. Every time your fingers type those words, you are telling your soul that the old season no longer owns you. You are telling heaven that you are ready to stop living beneath your calling. You are declaring that grief will not control your money, fear will not control your love, and confusion will not control your destiny. You are opening space for divine provision, richer peace, stronger faith, and blessings that do not require you to betray yourself. If this message has touched you, press like as a quiet act of choosing healing over hiding. Subscribe if you believe God still guides through signs, dreams, inner knowing, and sacred timing. Share this with another Pisces who smiles in public but cries in private, because one message can become the moment someone remembers that they are not forgotten. And before you leave, breathe once more. Feel this truth settle into your spirit. What is leaving was not strong enough to enter your promise. What is closing was not wide enough to hold your future. What is making you cry may be the doorway God uses to wash your past, restore your confidence, protect your wealth, and lead you into the blessing your soul has waited for. Pisces, your heart is not breaking without purpose. It is being opened for grace, abundance, and a new life covered by God. Stay with that feeling for a moment, because this is where the old agreement ends. You no longer have to chase what God is removing. You no longer have to shrink so others can feel comfortable. You no longer have to confuse delay with denial or loneliness with abandonment. April 26th to April 28th may shake you, but it can also crown you with a new understanding. The Pisces who leaves this season will not be the same Pisces who entered it. You are becoming wiser with your kindness, richer with your peace, stronger with your boundaries, and more open to holy prosperity. Let your comment be your altar. Let your like be your yes. Let your share be a blessing sent forward. Let your subscription be your decision to keep walking in faith from now.